We are live. All right. Hey everyone. Okay, well, first of all, it's been a wild. Oh, there we go. My alarm's going off. I was like, where is my alarm telling me that we're going live? Anyways. Hi everyone. As always, I'm Kevin Hammer,
I'm Chris Barrett.
and we have
And
a
listen,
special guest with us.
yes, special guest.
Hello, I'm Elena, the bass mother. I always get so pumped by that intro. I love it.
I know, although I joke and I told Chris he stole a job from me because now, saying and we are live, he took it from me. Anyway.
Yeah, I created the intro. I love to do video editing.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. It's a great intro. And speaking of intro, let's introduce everyone to our focus this evening on this stream, which we will be discussing Trans Kink Pride Month in review, because let's face it, that's pretty much what Pride is at this point. It is a celebration of kink, of trans ideology, and of course of drag, which sometimes I put drag in with kink. I'm not gonna lie, it's where I am at this point to a large degree. And I say that as someone who once upon a time enjoyed going to a drag show every now and then. Of course, in bars where children were not allowed. So we're going to jump in a moment, but I want to go to the comments quick because right off the bat, we have Vinny saying hello, saying hello. We always love having you, Vinny. You're one of our most avid followers and one of our most, active commenters. And of course, we appreciate you so much, Vinny. We can't wait to have you on someday in the future. But so, Elena, really excited to have you on because I know you follow everything when it comes to this subject, especially during Pride Month. You follow what children are being exposed to, especially when it comes to education. And let's face it, Pride to a degree, and I have seen this myself, Pride has been pushed as an educational experience for children. I've seen that locally as a way it's been promoted. Heck, as you covered locally for Albany Pride, where I live, in Albany, near Albany, New York, they were actually pushing the Girl Scouts to take part, and they did take part in the parade. Because it's an educational experience, and heck, they even tied it to earning a badge, didn't they, Elena?
There is a Girl Scouts of America Pride badge, and there's a whole list of activities that you can do to earn the badge. And on the list of things to choose from is to march in a Pride parade with your troop, or just attend a Pride parade with your friends and family. And there's again a whole list. There's books, films that children can take in. There's crafts that they can do. It's just wild and really disappointing because that was never the original intent of the Girl Scouts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, and I for those of you who don't know, I kind of went after the troop leader on social media for bringing her Girl Scout troop to this event. And it's like, oh, well, what's wrong about promoting love and understanding and yada 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 and all that type of stuff? And it's like, well, I guess if that's all it was about, and I suppose that is your intention, fine, I understand it. Elena read it and saw that I was trying to be very, very cordial to this person and, give them the benefit of the doubt. But the simple fact is, there were people doing pup play, of course, the drag shows. And if I get an opportunity to talk about why I personally think drag shows are inappropriate for children, if that comes up, I'll talk about that. And then all the trans madness. It's like, so this really isn't an event about love and
And don't
acceptance.
forget the nudity. I mean, there was blatant
And the
nudity.
Yep.
nudity. Yes, the
Mm-hmm.
nudity as well. We can't forget about that. So I mean, it's not an event about love and acceptance. And of course, they all came on there and attacked me as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
But
At this point, Chris, when I have those interactions, I ask them, first of all, to define what you mean by love and also define what exactly you're asking us to accept. Because let's have that discussion. You can use vague terminology like love and acceptance, but can we define those terms? Can we go a little bit more into depth? Because that's where we're definitely going to have the disagreement.
yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing, right? They use those phrases love is love, acceptance, tolerance, all that. But what are you asking? Like I said, what are you asking us to love? What are you asking us to accept? What are you asking us to tolerate?
Well,
And
I'll tell you what. I mean, in the case, I actually did have a private conversation with this troop leader. She actually did contact me through Facebook Messenger, and it was kind of interesting. I mean, she was talking about acceptance of the trans stuff, and she was talking about acceptance of gays and lesbians. And I was
of
like,
course,
I was like, honey, the gays and lesbians are fine. We don't need your love and tolerance, and I was like, if you want to go ahead and push this idea of trans stuff on kids, I was like, I think that's a huge problem. And of course she got pissed off at me, but what can you do?
of
This
course,
is the
of
thing. It's like
course.
there's either they actually believe in all this trans stuff and they believe that children should be exposed to this sexualization and have it normalized for kids, or they're naive about that part of it. Either way, they're not fit to be watching other people's children.
Oh, good Lord, no. No.
Absolutely. And we're about to dive into all this, folks. We're gonna recap some of the prides, of course. You've seen Chris and I, and you've seen the based mother cover some of the videos we're about to show you because we're doing an all-out recap. Before we jump into that, I do want to say quick, I do apologize if there is a little bit of cutting in and out. I have an ancient router. It's at the age of retirement, but don't worry, that will be changing. So hopefully future streams will not go in and out as much. We are working on resolving all that. So bear with us if there is a little bit of issue there. We seem good at the moment, and pray God that continues. So with that though, we're gonna jump into it. Some of these videos are a bit longer just because they are a recap of specific prides. And first, we're going to jump into a recap of Skrmetti Pride. Now, for those of you who have already seen this recap, who have already seen us reference Skrmetti Pride and cover it, you will be familiar with some of these images. Especially the so-called burlesque performance that children were exposed to in early June. All right, so here we go with that.
By the way, guys, that person is actually a child that is dancing around in the.
What is this that we're looking at right now? Which one's the child? The one up on the stage?
The one that
on
was
stage.
the one that was up on stage in the animal outfit, that was a child.
Dear Lord.
So to clarify, right there, that individual right there, that's a child. That's a child.
And the
All
thing
of them.
is, the thing is like to the uninformed that may look innocent because it's like, oh, it's just a kid dressed up as a I don't know, a fox or something like that. But the thing is, there is a fetish group that is into this sort of weird crap, and that's what they're doing. It's brought on by like anime porn, and I'm disgusted that I actually know so much about this stuff now. It's
Yep.
certainly not anything that I'm into, but I have looked into it, and it comes out of Japanese culture. And this is some stuff that kids are getting into. And this is not an innocent animal outfit. This is a sexualized sort of thing. That is exactly what
Mhm.
this stuff is. Because if you
And
see this disgusting anime porn, um, then you will know exactly what this is.
and by the way, just so everyone knows, these children, not just that one child, these children, all right? There's a child behind her, there's a little toddler right there. These children are on stage dancing to Whips
I'm
and
gonna have to
Chains
drop out for a
Excite
second,
Me.
guys, because my
All right.
iPad is
So
wonking out on
everyone,
me.
while we wait for Chris, I want to clarify that. These children are on stage dancing to the Chains and Whips Excite Me. So Chris highlighted a very important point there. This is fetish. And this gentleman right here, Elena, I'm going to let
Oh,
you
it's
take
fine.
this.
It's fine. I don't.
This
Yeah.
gentleman right here, that gentleman encouraging the children to dance, right there,
Yeah,
right?
who is that?
Let's look at him earlier. Let's look at. Oh, there he is, right there with the pup mask. There he is with the pup mask, right? All right, so we have him there with the pup mask, and then there he is with the quote unquote burlesque performer. So we have this one gentleman. We have this one gentleman, right? Who is all through this. There he is wearing a pup mask. There he is next to the pup play. Oh, right there. And then we see him encouraging children to dance to Chains and Whips Excite Me on stage. Elena, I'm going to throw it to you.
Well, all
Right.
of this is, as we've seen for years now, the normalization of pedophilia. And one of the angles to it is to dehumanize these children by putting masks over their head. It's no different than throwing a hood over their face so you don't have to look at them while you rape them. That's exactly what this is. And that people are in broad daylight doing this in the streets of America is absolutely mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this. You know, a friend of mine, we have a funny static
Yeah,
noise.
we do.
I don't know if you
I'm
guys
getting
can
that as well. A little bit of static noise.
Yeah.
I think it started around the time you came back in. Unfortunately, Chris, I do apologize.
Oh no, it's okay. My audio keeps cutting out. It's a pain in the ass. Can you guys hear me?
It got a little lower. The static got a little lower.
It did. Everyone, don't worry. While I'm working to fix the tech issues on my end, Chris is resolving the issues on his end.
Yeah, I know. I decided to update to a beta version of iPadOS, and it's a disaster for the podcast. But Yes, just giving people a background information on what's going on here. This is not innocent at all. I know what's going on, and I think that Kevin and Elena know what's going on. This is not innocent. This is not cutesy or anything like that.
I want to point out that this footage is from Albany, but this is happening in every state, in cities all across America. This isn't some isolated incident that people need to not worry about. Their kids, these children on this stage are going to go to school on Monday and tell the other children about this stuff. It is a poison that will easily spread through the child's community. And again, it becomes normal in their minds. So then some society should be responding to them, to their sexual advances.
Yeah. And Elena, this is actually specifically Schenectady Pride. So this is next to Albany, and because we're about to go to Albany Pride. So that is a great, a great intro to that. Because
it proves my point even more. Yeah,
it does. Look up, folks, if you're watching, look up Schenectady, New York compared to Albany, New York, and then compared to New York City. Because, by the way, for covering Pride, for recapping Pride in New York State, that is what we're doing. We're doing Schenectady, we're doing Albany, and then we're doing New York City, folks. All right? So we're going to be doing that, and we have Chris back, folks. So we are about to jump into Albany Pride. So when I went to Schenectady Pride, I went with a good friend named Justin. Interview Justin. I will include a link to that in the description. Please check that out because we cover Schenectady Pride in depth. We especially cover the exposure that children had to this so-called burlesque. So please check out that. But we are going to jump into Albany Pride now. We have 2 clips for that. And Chris actually took one of the pictures that pretty much became the image associated with Albany Pride 2025.
Yes.
So here we have a combination in this next clip. We have a combination of what the vendors were doing at Albany Pride, because it wasn't just the performers. A lot of people think about the drag queens and what's going on stage, and while this clip covers them, it covers also the vendors, what they were selling to children, the merchandise they were exposing children to, which Elena covered as well. And then it also covers just the fashion in general, which includes Chris's pick that he took. And then, of course, we touch on the drag queens and the fetish. So with that, part of our recap of Albany Pride 2025.
That's something you want your kids to see.
Yeah. And there it is beneath SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Right? But it's diversity. They have white and brown. Who ate all the pussy? For children.
A child doesn't ever, no one needs to see that. You could live for 150 years and not need to see that shirt. Never mind, but a child?
Nasty pig.
I took that picture.
Oh, what is that?
Like that?
I didn't see that.
That's mental health crisis.
There's another one.
This is just the outfits. These aren't even performers. These are people who were in the pride.
There's a really good song from like the 70s or the 80s.
Look at that child.
They come out night again.
boobs are hanging out. And she just sat there and posed for me. And then, of course, Kevin and I have gone to town with that.
I went to town with that too after you sent it to me. Yeah, I showed it to everybody.
So, yeah, folks, by the way, here's the thing. Chris didn't even realize, because I'm pausing.
I did not realize
that he had a child right in the frame. Now, mind you, Albany Pride was pretty much a daycare. There were times when in the street, and you can ask Chris this, and I've said this many times, I've had honestly, there are times when there are more kids in the street at Albany Pride than there are adults.
Yeah, and we've got topless women walking around, and they were all over the place. You know, you had the fetishists and stuff like that, but the women, oh my God, I was like, where is your sense of like, you know, I don't know, just like, I don't know, being decent or something like that.
Self-respect.
Modesty.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Elena. That's what I was looking at. It's like, where's your sense of modesty? You know, why are you wanting to do this? People have asked if that was a so-called trans woman. No, that was an actual woman. And I would venture to guess the majority of the women that we saw that were topless were actual women. So it's like, I don't know how to put this in a good way, but I guess it's just that, you know, I look to women to be kind of like, I don't know, the brake pedal to some of this stuff.
Exactly, right?
And
we did culturally, Chris. You're not wrong in that. Culturally, I mean, while I know we talk about, you know, an oppressive history towards women, right? But at the end of the day, women have kept men in line historically, especially when it comes to lewd and crude behavior.
right.
And this is me, I'm speaking as myself. Feminism has worked to turn women into men and men into women. But that's just my personal perspective. It makes women act like men. So when women would normally say, hey, this is wrong, that's not what we have in the culture anymore, unfortunately. I do want, sorry, Elena, continue.
I just got to jump in. So, yes, it did it initially started with women trying to act like men, but yes, men may have been able to, men didn't do this. Men weren't running around shaking their junk in the streets and nightclubs and all that. Whatever women decided to try to be has gone off some new dark set of rails. And I find it really embarrassing. You have me thinking here, like, if we go back to the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, nobody had any rights to vote, and they still acted like this. So you know, but my point really is that I think that a lot of women have taken our rights and turned them into something disgusting. And when they were fought for, and you would probably, I think, make that argument about gay marriage. You just wanted to be able to, you know, have the same rights with your partner, legal rights with your partner that a straight married couple does, you know, for when someone's in the hospital or they die, or, you know, property and all that, and pensions and all that. And, you know, that now that has also been perverted by this. Like all of us are being stomped on by them.
And that right there, Elena, I agree with 100%, because I think that they have taken something that was otherwise really good, you know, obviously equal rights for women, equal rights for gay people, and they've perverted it, you know, and we should all be standing up against this stuff. As gay people, as women, we should be standing up against this stuff. But I just, I don't want us to be seen as saying, "Oh, well, I'll just give up all my rights," either.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and
That's all
I respect that, Chris, and I thank you for even mentioning that because to me, I'm speaking myself as Elena said, as a hypothetical, similar to like, for example, as someone who is unapologetically pro-life, I often get the hypothetical of a bunch of frozen embryos and a baby in a burning building. So
yes, I've given you that hypothetical.
I know you have. So I'm that's for me when I'm speaking as a hypothetical. When as Elena touched on, absolutely, and I think the advancements, whether it be for women in the case of what Elena mentioned, or for homosexuals such as myself, as I mentioned, is that these advancements have been twisted by the modern left to connect it to something absolutely evil that targets children and female spaces, unfortunately.
And I think I think that is probably the thing that we need to focus on here is that this has been twisted. We have dealt with the advancement of women, the advancement of gay people, and stuff like that. And guess who has come in on our tails? And it's the trans rights movement. And that is ultimately, I believe, what has perverted all of this stuff. Because I mean, I went to gay pride fests and stuff like that, and these aren't gay pride fests, they're trans pride fests. That's what they are now. I went to gay pride fests and I didn't see anything like what I see nowadays. I mean, all it was just like gay men and women marching for equal rights. You didn't, at the worst, you saw the dykes on bikes or something like that. The lesbians that like to ride motorcycles. But all this other perverse crap, you didn't see it. You didn't see kids there. You know, and so what we have going on here is a movement, in my opinion, that has taken advantage of the rights that men and women who are gay and women who are straight have gained. And I think that's what we're dealing with here.
So I'm going to move us along because we are over half an hour in and we're just on the second clip, folks. So I am going to acknowledge that because, wow, I know. Let's jump in that because I know. Pride Month was not as big as it usually is because they lost a lot of support, especially financial backing, thank God. But it's still twisted and it's still targeting children. So let's continue with this clip. And by the way, people, watch it closely and especially watch a drag queen who pulls down and reveals his bits to the crowd, and also pay attention to the crowd and what they're doing as well.
I don't want to see bits.
Trust me, no one does.
I don't have a choice.
Look at this guy. And there's a child right there.
Are those kids on stage?
Yeah, we got on stage and we got off stage, all in front of children. Look at that little girl. And she's waving the fan.
Poor children.
Now watch this drag queen right here. Watch this queen. Watch when he pulls down the front of his pants. Luckily not in the direction of the camera.
God, I so sick of that freaking fan clicking thing that they do.
Yeah.
So the thing that we don't say enough is the word trans. We need to educate people that trans includes pedophiles, or as they like to call them, minor or attracted persons. It does. And that's what this is about. It's about giving pedophiles a platform.
Well, this actually, when it stops, I'll bring up what I had to say because I alluded to it earlier. What I think drag really is. Okay, so I've got to say it. So with the drag shit, I think what that has become, I was talking to a friend of mine about a drag performer in Kansas City that I thought was like hilarious. He modeled his character on Flo from Mel's Diner, which is an old show. Yeah, and anyway, it was like the set, they built an elaborate set. It was like a trailer park thing and everything. It was just great. It was hilarious. It was funny. Obviously not appropriate for children, but it was mostly a stand-up routine, and that's what it was. And I really enjoyed that. But now drag has become something completely different, and it's like I sat around and thought, it's like, gosh, why are these people so interested in pushing drag on kids? And then it occurred to me, I know why. It's because it's this trans stuff. It's like they're showing that men can be women. And, and I really think that's what it is. And when you start checking out a lot of these drag performers nowadays, the typical gay male drag performer is becoming way and way rare because the vast majority of them now, at least in the Kansas City area, they're all trans.
Or female. We have a lot of drag women out there. We have a lot of drag kings, as they say, performing. So
what is that?
So
drag
kings, is a woman who does drag, but often performs as a more masculine representation. So you'll see facial hair, a suit, traditionally more masculine attire, and male attire, and that is a drag king. Usually.
I'm Googling. Okay.
Yeah.
We just expanded the base mother's world, people.
All right. I have seen these pictures of these types of people and their outfits. I did not know this is what it was called. All right. I thought it was like you said earlier, just mentally ill people. Okay.
Well,
it's still mentally ill people.
All I can say, Elena, is welcome to the world, the hell world of being gay, because that's basically what you're seeing here. Because if you're a gay person with any sense of morality, you hate all of this stuff, just like I do. And the thing is, it's like we're expected to accept this shit, and think that it's okay. And of course it's not okay. None of this stuff is okay, especially.
And by the way, folks, sorry, I do want to move us along because we're almost at 40 minutes and we're still on the second clip officially.
Oh yeah.
But Chris, please continue.
Yeah, let me finish this up real quick. The thing is, June is essentially hell month for any gay person that has any sense of morality. It's like it's terrible for us. It's embarrassing because these people are promoting themselves as somehow representing us, and it's like no.
So a quick story though, an entertaining story before we go to the next one, just because Chris made me think of it. Chris almost got us killed at Albany Pride, by the way.
I did.
He made the decision to take a pride flag and throw it in the trash and publicly announce his view of Pride. And mind you, at the time, I'm not with Chris. I am in the audience still recording what's happening on stage. I end up with a number of missed calls from Chris, attempts by Chris to say, we need to get out of here. I have eyes on me now. All this stuff. And I'm still recording the performances. And Chris has made the decision to, help the villagers light the torches and grab the pitchforks. And I'm still in the crowd. I'm still among them.
Chris.
I just lost my shit. I couldn't stand it anymore. I just could not stand it. So I took that pride flag, shoved it into the trash, and made a huge announcement to everybody. I was like, this is what I think of pride. And yeah. So
Well, good. I mean, I honestly, is there no legal recourse? Don't we have laws against public nudity? And did they get waived for Pride? What's the deal? And why, if they are waived, are children allowed to be there?
Yep. And
well,
there's
New
a
York
video.
New York's complicated, but yeah.
We are a complicated state here in New York. We actually are a very complicated state. We actually do. It's actually not legal for a woman, for example, to be topless in New York State. And nudity in New York State. And I saw a police officer explain this once to someone who was complaining. As long as the man, like say a man has exposed himself at Pride, as long as he is not erect, they're not going to pursue it.
But it is illegal.
That is illegal. It is. But their interpretation is as long as he is not erect and therefore not getting a certain type of satisfaction from it, it's not lewd enough for them to pursue. Now, the person who saw it can file a complaint, but you can guess how that would go.
Well, yeah. Well, it sounds more like it's on the books that it's illegal, but these liberal prosecutors and liberal elected officials don't want to deal with it. So because they don't want to look the other way like they do with theft and rape and everything else. Okay, thank you.
So with that, we're going to move forward. I do quickly want to reference Vinny because he's been commenting away, which we always appreciate in the comments. Please, people, if you're watching, comment. We will reference that comment. Vinny, you have so much, though. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot going on here. But Vinny is giving Elena praise, of course. So he talks about a lot of the furry stuff, of course, which we see a great deal of, unfortunately, in Pride. Talk about the kink going on. And Vinny also says that he will be on the lookout for people posting propaganda against this show. So, thank you, Vinny, for having our back. We always appreciate it. With that, we are going to jump to the next clip for Albany Pride because something happened at Albany Pride. I managed to find 2 clips. Well, one we recorded, actually Chris recorded, and one I happened to find online. And it embodies what Chris mentioned earlier, that Pride is about kink, fetish, and the trans agenda. So here we go. This is from Albany Pride, folks.
Yeah, the largest flag was a trans flag.
Wait for it. We get a trifecta.
So creepy.
Now, so that last video, I know it was short, but right there you see the pup play and the pride flag, the long one that was part of Albany Pride. We have the pup play and we have that we have that trans flag, right?
I
And
think
we
that I think the best way to put this, Kevin, is kind of back to what I was saying earlier about like us as women or gay people or whatever the case may be. Why I'm like, no, let's not talk about giving up our rights. And the reason is because I think that, quite honestly, this is a parasite. This movement is a parasite that has infected our communities, gay communities, women's rights communities, stuff like that, and they've taken over. They've taken over. And I really do think that that's what has gone on. And these are not gay rights parades, guys. I mean, I really can't reinforce that enough. This is, like Kevin said, it's fetish. It is transgender stuff. This is a totally different thing. And that's why you don't see as many gay people really going to these things
Yeah.
anymore. You see a whole bunch of straight people there, actually, which is kind of interesting because
with
think
their
about it, Kevin.
children, with their children.
What did we see when we went to Albany Pride? It was a bunch of straight people with their
Yeah,
kids.
exactly. A bunch of straight people with their kids. Elena, I want to throw it to you quick because before we jump on the New York City Pride, which we're about to, folks, Elena, what do you have to say to this? Because I don't know how much you yourself have observed the evolution of quote unquote pride. But what's your take on this right here? I mean, right here, this image before you, I feel is an embodiment of what Chris and I have spoken about. What's your take on it?
Well, about 25 years ago, I was living in San Francisco and we went to the Beta Breakers race, and there was like a parade type of a thing after, and a lot of it was Pride stuff. And really didn't know a lot about Pride back then. San Francisco was a hub. There were a few hubs for it back then. It wasn't everywhere. And there were some naked people on the street. And gee, I may even have pictures of that. I got to go digging. And at the time, I just thought, wow, this is crazy. I do not remember seeing any children. I just thought like, wow, like we were, I was young, we were drinking, we thought it was hilarious. Like it was a joke, like this is nuts. I mean, I wasn't ever thinking that this would evolve into people dehumanizing children and teaching, I mean, between the dehumanization around the trans thing and saying you can just be whatever you want, and you're just this gender fluid and you're not a boy or a girl, and then adding in the furries and adding in the pup play, like it's not a joke. This is really spitting in the face of the creation order. And when I look at again, to go back to Sodom and Gomorrah, like we're involving children in ways that I don't think the Bible said were happening in Sodom and Gomorrah. Like I think this is worse. And we're gonna and we are going to pay. Like some days, I'm a Christian, I my faith is important to me. Some days I wonder why God has not just rained hellfire on us, because we deserve it as a nation for allowing this to happen to our children.
I'm just hoping, Elena, that ultimately we can put a stop to this.
Yeah.
You know that I'm friends with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I love her Protect Children's Innocence Act. I'm hoping that can pass because it will make it so that this is illegal in all 50 states. Because if it doesn't pass, this is going to continue being a state by state battle to protect
Yeah.
children. But I am hoping that maybe the reason we haven't had hellfire rain down on us, because I agree with you, Elena. It's like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that God hasn't like taken out his wrath on us, for what we've allowed, but I do think that maybe he's giving us a chance to correct the situation. And I really do hope that we can get that done. I mean, here in my own state, even Republicans failed to extend
Mhm.
extend our ban on gender affirming care. So in 2027, if nothing's done about it, guess what? Child sex changes are legal in the state of Missouri again. And, you know, if there is anything that has like really got me to run for office, it's just so that I can go in there and fall down on that sword and make that my number one issue to get done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I can relate to Chris here, and then we're going to jump on the New York City Pride because we have to touch on it, folks. Is I when I was running for office, I ran for city council locally. I was disavowed by the Republican candidate for mayor because I stood against children being exposed to drag, kink, and fetish. Yeah, disavowed by the Republican candidate for mayor. And I do mean that word specifically. I was disavowed by the Republican candidate for mayor because I stood against exposing children to drag, kink, fetish, and all this. With that, let's jump on to New York City Pride because, folks, this is where we get on to uncharted territory for our show. Here's our first clip out of New York City Pride. Now, please, folks, pay attention to the background in this clip, not so much the foreground, because that is where the story is.
That do look like Donald Trump, though, ain't it?
Oh.
I mean, but like, he look like his first fight. Beat that ass, you're being too soft.
Yeah, folks. All right. So that was New York City Pride. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of crowd back there in the park, right? And you know that this was in full display of children. Yeah, folks.
Girl
this
Scouts were there too.
was New York City Pride.
Oh, Girl Scouts were at that one too, Elena?
They have gone in past years, and I'm pretty sure they went again this year. So yeah, they go. There was a Queen's troop that goes every year.
Why
I
on
can find out.
earth would you bring your kids to something like this? I just don't understand it. I mean, it's like, you know, if I ever adopted children, there is no way on earth they'd see drag shows. They wouldn't ever see a drag queen story hour. They wouldn't see the inappropriate books in the schools because I would make sure that their asses didn't see that shit. You know, and any teacher that, you know, wanted to push that on them would have to face the wrath of me. And, you know, I mean, and I sure as hell am not going to take a child to a pride event. What's wrong with these parents? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be honest, Chris, I think it's a mixture. You know my stance on this. I think it's a mixture of parents who have been unfortunately manipulated, who in many ways, and I think this is actually, in my opinion, the majority of parents, they've been told, do you want your child to kill themselves? If not, you got to accept all this.
Yeah.
So I really do think that that is the majority of parents. However, I do think some push this agenda for selfish reasons. I think that those individuals I'm talking about, those parents, are the same ones who live vicariously through their children by, you know, a man, for example, who has a son who's on the football team living the dream that he never lived, right? You know, that type. So I think it's a mixture of the two, right? It's the parents who have been convinced that their child will kill themselves if they don't accept this. And it's the parent who wants to live vicariously through their child. So I think that's the mixture we have going on.
I think this brings up a good point, though. It's like, okay, if your child is gay, you don't need to accept this shit. You don't need to accept this shit at all. You know, and because
Yeah.
there's nothing about this that is inherently a part of being a homosexual person. You know, it's just perversion. You know, and you know, it's like, maybe that's something that we need to educate people on, is like, don't think that your child's going to kill themselves just because you don't accept transgenderism and kink, you know. Ugh. Oh my god.
I think they're surrounded. So unfortunately, we still have a society that trusts the medical establishment. And when their kid is depressed, instead of dealing with their child's depression, they pawn them off on a psychiatrist who loads the kid with drugs. They pawn them off on a therapist. And the American Psychiatric Association, the therapists, it is harder and harder to find a therapist that doesn't look at an anxious child and say, this is probably about your gender.
Yeah,
So
no, you're right. You're right.
so they're surrounded. They go to the school. They talk to the school. In the school, the people are telling them that this is your child is trans, and this is normal, and this is healthy, and this is good. They can't get away from it. They don't even see the ray of light coming in. The one therapist in town who was like, no, don't do this to your kid. Your kid is, your kid's going to be okay. Like, and here's all the truth about all the hormones that they're going to give them, and here's how it's going to screw up their mind even more. I mean, the detransitioners are coming out of the woodwork now.
Oh yeah,
which, by the way, folks,
it's going to be outrageous. We need to get the word out about that.
Yeah, we have that one therapist in New York City that Chris and I will have on the stream in the future. He's a very good man.
Andre?
From my Andre, yeah, you know him.
The guy.
You know,
he's the guy.
Yeah. He is the only out there very vocal therapist that I know who's actually standing up for children at the end of the day.
And
he's
one
a
by
good
one,
man.
he's probably saving them.
Yep.
Oh
and
yeah,
we can't wait to
You know,
have him on.
I mean, the thing is, it's like I'm just, my mind is blown that the amount of gay people that have actually bought into this crap, because I mean, I have publicly said this in front of Senate and House committees. I have said, this is conversion therapy 2.0. Why the hell are you supporting this? You know? And,
it's conversion therapy with a fruity twist.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
All right, just a side note. I know we're running late, but did you see? You saw the guy Kai, or the girl who thinks she's a guy, Kai Korpak, who did that course called "A Gay Man's Guide to Vaginal Play," and it was to try. I tried to get.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I am homosexual. I'm sorry.
Trans man is a real man, and you need to come to grips with his vagina.
No, honey.
See,
I am a homosexual man. I'm not a gay man. I'm a homosexual man. So let me. Sorry.
That is too funny, Elena, because I've seen a lot of that, and I'm always just kind of amused by it, because it's like, you do realize this is conversion therapy in another sense. That's what the transgender community has done. It's like, I mean, women are fine. I love women. I'm just not into your anatomy. And even if you're a woman pretending to be a man, and you might even look convincing or something, because I've seen some who have, that's so rapey.
Well, okay. Also, Chris, when it talks about people being convincing, I'm like, I've seen people who are convincing vampires during Halloween. It doesn't mean I believe they're a vampire.
Right.
So with that, let's jump to our last clip for New York City Pride, because we need to touch on this, and then we're going to move along, because eventually, folks, we're going to get to the Supreme Court ruling, and trust me, that's going to be interesting. All right, so here we go. New York City Pride, our last clip. Tell me if you recognize these drag queens. right. So first of all, before I jump ahead, we need to talk about that poor child, right? We have a poor child right there.
Oh.
Look at that poor child. Look at that poor child. I'm about to get very... Look at that poor child. You can tell that child is not comfortable with this situation. That child does not want to be involved in this situation. But that child has literally been put in the middle of this depravity. That poor child. So, for those of you who are not aware, these drag queens, by the way, are the Sisters of Perpetual
Indulgence.
I
Indulgence.
thought, you know what? I thought that's who it was. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So these are
no,
the
I know who they are,
Sisters
too.
of. Yeah.
Sisters
And
of
for those
Perpetual
of you who aren't
Indulgence.
aware, there was a indulgence. Yes. So these drag queens were part of a controversy a while back with, was it the Dodgers? I believe it was. It was the baseball, the
Dodgers,
baseball
yep.
stadium.
Yep.
The Dodgers, right? Who was supposed to host them? Then they rescinded their invitation. Then they gave it back, right? Now, these drag queens, right? They mock, especially the Catholic faith. And to refer to them as sacrilegious is an understatement. Because here's another clip. I want you guys to look at these images. Look closely. Because sacrilegious is once again an understatement. For the Sisters of Perpetual,
Indulgence.
depravity. I know it's indulgence, but I'm going to say depravity because that is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. That's disgusting.
All right, so I wanna stay right here.
That's completely
Wow. Yeah, they were
Mm.
that first set of signs.
Look, shoot, come, not guns, gun control, Jesus. These are the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, depravity, as I said earlier. And Elena, I know you might not. I know you mentioned that you're familiar with them a bit, but have you seen this specifically, Elena?
No, this is my first time seeing this, and I don't even want to say that it offends me. It is. I mean, it's blasphemous. It's so. It's just everything that we know is evil to mock God, but it makes me sad. It makes me sad that anybody can put on a show like this and actually have an audience and fans. For that entire audience, for all of these people involved, their life they're so far removed from their creator. They are fish out of water, and they're swimming in shark infested waters, and they don't even know it. And I won't give them the satisfaction of being angry about it, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Sorry, Chris. It took me a moment to realize to see it pop up. That makes perfect sense. I mean, for Elena and I, coming from a Christian perspective, this is horrific. This is disgusting. But Chris, as a man who is of the Jewish faith, I'm sure even because you have a Catholic background, this is something that is most assuredly abhorrent to your views overall, to just your experience overall. All right, folks, I think we
got a frozen Chris.
Yep, we have a frozen Chris. With that, though, I mean, Elena, it's just, I have to go back to this because, the sacrilegious aspect of this crowd, I just still try to understand How can anyone just look at that child? How can anyone in good conscience look at that?
And not one adult is aware of that child's pain. They are all so self-absorbed that they're not looking. Not one of them is saying this kid needs to be taken out of here, out of this situation. Covering, I can't tell if it's a boy or a girl, covering, I'll say her ears, looking down, hunched over, looking scared. I mean, this is just cruelty on every level. And again, it's straight up evil. I know I sound like a holy roller when I say that we're in a battle of good and evil, and we are watching it unfold before our very eyes day after day. Anybody that would do this to a child is on the highway to hell. Not that they can't be saved. There's still time for that.
Absolutely.
I was lost.
Still time
I was lost. I didn't understand the truth, and now that I do, I see this. It kills me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I'm actually back. I think I can hear you guys.
And Chris, I had asked you, I guess where we lost you, and I had asked you is I know that, Elena and I, we are coming.
Bitch.
Oh, no.
Here, give me just.
Oh, wait, there we go.
It's being weird again.
You're good. You're good on our end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So I think what the problem is when we switch videos and everything, for whatever reason on my end, it cuts everybody's audio. So this to me, I just want to make clear, I may be a Jewish man, but I think that this is disgusting. You do not disrespect people's religion this way, and I mean, while I don't necessarily feel that Jesus Christ is divine necessarily, I think that he was an amazing reformer. He's owed some respect from everybody, and so to get up there and mock Jesus Christ this way is disgusting to me.
So, folks, I wish I could say that New York City Pride was the epitome of this depravity, but unfortunately it wasn't. Because we're about to leave New York State, and we're about to go to some other states here. Now, Elena, Chris, are you ready for this? We're about to go to some other states before we, of course, get to the Supreme Court. And with that, we are moving on to Denver. Because, folks, trust me, Denver, yeah, it was an experience. Here is our first clip from Denver Pride.
That's sick.
Oh, I mean, you got your average teddy bear. You've got Winnie the Pooh in bondage. I mean, here we go. We've got Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh in bondage, pretty much, at the end of the day.
It's, again, the blending of the sadistic and the fetish with something that belongs to children. Everything blends a childlike, element into it. Everything. The pride flag in baby colors. This, a teddy bear with S&M. The pups. Even the pup. They don't even call it dog fetish. They call it pup because it's the child of the dog. The dog children. Everything is getting more and more and more fetished towards adolescence.
Oh, absolutely. And they entertain children all the more. They do. It's absolutely twisted, absolutely disturbing, absolutely and unquestionably evil. So here we have our first clip from Denver Pride. And in this first clip, we see a symbol of childhood, a teddy bear made into a sexual perversion.
No.
Well,
No.
Chris, do you have any comments about this before we
Well,
move to the next?
I mean, it's not surprising because ultimately, this trans kink movement that's going on, I mean, they're obviously after kids, because that's how they're going to perpetuate themselves. They figured that out, and so that's what we're seeing here. And, you know, uh, all I can say is parents, be vigilant. Don't take your kids to this stuff. It's not healthy. I mean, it's not really even healthy for adults. I mean, any adult that wants to actually go to this stuff, I mean, I think that's why I lost my shit and shoved that pride flag into the trash and was like, this is what I think of pride, is because even as an adult, I just lost it. I couldn't be a part of it anymore. I was like, nope, time to go, and I'm gonna take my stand here. You know, uh, because I can't stand being around this shit anymore. Because all it is perverse bullshit.
It really is taking childhood and making it something perverse. With that, we are going to go to our next Denver clip because it highlights the trans agenda, which I know for you, Chris, especially, has been a focus of just how much the trans agenda has inserted itself into Pride overall. And we really have seen that, folks. It's undeniable at this point. And this clip proves just that.
You all are beautiful! Beautiful!
Every flag is a trans flag.
This can be seen on our Denver Pride Live also. This is Make America Gay Again.
No, it has nothing to do with being gay.
Right. I was about to say, make America gay again. No, you're about making America trans. Can we be honest for a moment? Can we just have some honesty?
Where's anything representing gay people in that?
Elena, from your perspective, what is your take on this? I mean, look at this. This is trans flags as far as the eye can see.
Yeah. No, again, this is just trying to get, I mean, children loves bright colors. They love like things like this. The flags and kites and dancers. And I mean, children love parades. So this is just a way to do a positive association for children. There's music, there's dancers. This is fun. And everything trans and gay is fun. And but whether you like it or not, they're using the word gay, even though they're distorting even the word gay for children by bringing this in. Everything is just meant to distort young minds and distort reality for them, that that all the parents around who are dressing their boys in girls' clothes and vice versa, that is normal and healthy and right. And when you have a parade for it, obviously it must be good and right and normal, because otherwise we wouldn't be having this big party for it. Right. That's how a little kid's mind works. They can be trained to think that anything is normal. A child can be trained to think that abuse is normal if they never see anything else. So those are my thoughts. This is just another, shiny ball for children.
Yeah,
So
I agree, Elena. You know, it's like, yeah, of course it ticks me off that they're using the word gay because it's like, no, there's nothing gay about this stuff here whatsoever. But you know, I think that that's why we, as gay people, like Kevin and I, need to continue standing up against this stuff because, you know, it's like don't use our romantic feelings, the types of feelings that we have, and turn them into something else. You know, it just it needs to be we need more gay people to speak out against this. That's why I am thankful for, you know, organizations like the LGBT Alliance, Gays Against Skrmers, LGBT Courage Coalition, who are actually doing something to stand up against this stuff. Because we absolutely need that because, you know, I mean, when I go and testify before House or Senate committees or whatever the case may be, I play the gay card. Oh, yeah, trust me, I absolutely do. Because the Democrats, the ones who generally stand for this stuff, you know, don't know what to say to me.
Yeah.
And it shuts them down. And
yeah.
it's a beautiful sight when it happens.
I have a question for either of you. What is in the mind, and what is the what are the reasons for a gay person who is still on board with this? Like, because there are like I have had straight people. I have one straight person who used to be a friend who now doesn't like me because I'm in cahoots with the likes of you, and
The likes of us.
and she has a gay daughter who's engaged to be married, and so they see me as enemy number one. And like, what is going on in their mindset? Like, how? And I have, you know, before I was excommunicated, I gently tried to explain, like, well, this is what has, you know, all the stuff about the children and what's going on, and that it's been the whole movement's been bastardized by this appeal to sexualize children. It just doesn't even get through the thick skull, and they're still full on in support of Pride and whatever this is. So help me.
Elena, they have been, sorry, Chris, I just had to jump in on this, especially coming from New York State. The birth of the gay rights movement, Stonewall riots, and all that fun stuff is the individuals you're talking about, Elena. They have been warped. They have been convinced that that if you're homosexual or bisexual, you need to be pro-trans agenda, because after all, there wouldn't be any homosexual rights without the trans community. I mean, Marsha P. Johnson threw that brick at Stonewall, right? Despite the fact that Marsha P. Johnson never identified as trans, and the fact that Marsha P. Johnson was a drag queen who, at the end of the day, on video, talked about not showing up to the Stonewall riots until after they had started. Now, mind you, this is the individuals you're talking about. You're talking about people who have likely been manipulated by the deepest leftist agenda, trans agenda of the LGBT quote unquote community, where that's what they are. They are identity to the extreme. And they have been convinced that to speak out against this is an act of absolute hate and evil. That is what you're up against, unfortunately. And they don't understand the actual history of the movement. They don't.
Yeah. The thing
Just
is,
saying.
the thing is, Elena, I mean, the gay rights movement really has nothing to do with the trans rights movement, and we don't owe any of our rights to trans people. I am actually friends with someone who was actually at the Stonewall riots, and I can guarantee you that, according to his eyewitness account, Marsha P. Johnson really had nothing to do with it anyway, because he was busy, diddling a little boy or something like that. Um, so, you know, um,
Yeah.
so I do have a personal connection to it, and I'll just say this, you know, I think that just as much as we've seen all these straight parents who have been converted into accepting this and bringing their children to these events and stuff like that, I think that we've seen a fair amount of gay people who have been convinced as well.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
going,
absolutely.
yeah, it's going to take a lot of gay people to really speak out against this, because it is being done in our name, and
Hmm.
we need to be loud about this as much as possible. Like I said, I am willing to fall on that sword and make this like my prominent issue if I'm
Yeah.
elected, and chances are I probably won't be elected again if I do that. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care.
So, folks, we're going to move along because what state would you think would be the least likely, or one of the least likely, to have a pride that directly targets children, that actually specifically says F them kids? What state do you think would be the least likely to actually have a statement at Pride that says F them kids?
Utah?
Mississippi.
Texas, folks. We're going to the Lone Star State because our next stop is Texas Pride.
Oh, I
A
forgot.
Pride out of Texas.
Yeah, I'm not
forgot this
surprised
one.
actually.
Yeah, I forgot about this one.
Yep, and I know, because we have Dallas, we have Houston, but regardless, a lot of us would like to think that we wouldn't see this out of Texas. Now, folks, watch these two clips. They are a bit longer. Watch them closely, and then we'll touch on them in detail. All right, I'm gonna pause this quick because, by the way, I just have to. Do you notice right there that drag queen didn't even try to talk?
I
I'm
noticed
sorry.
that. But yeah, that's what I was giggling at.
All right, I know. All right, let's go.
Head down, hands up. That's the way I like to rock. Head down, hands up. That's the way I like to rock. Head down, hands up. That's the way I.
Yeah, I think that was part of the epitome of it. The head down took us up. That's the way they like to F, right? And look at that, the family zone. Well, they have a family zone, so clearly they're good, right?
So it must be just fine. Yes, when I organized a protest of St. Louis Pride, they had a family zone as well, and it was just as inappropriate. I mean, I remember I didn't personally go in because I'm too well recognized, but I did send some other people in to this event, and anyway, they got video of the master of ceremonies, who was a drag queen, and it's like, asked him, "What's different about Pride nowadays?" And he said, "All the kids that are here." And so they asked him, it's like, "What would you change about Pride nowadays?" And he's like, "I wouldn't have all the kids here." I mean, at least he was someone with some moral compass, and didn't appreciate the fact that all the kids were there, and because I honestly don't care if I mean, I will not go to this sort of crap. I mean, it's not something I'm going to do. But if adults want to get together and do this sort of stuff, fine. You go right ahead and do it. I guess that's the libertarian in me. But the
The children.
but involving the kids, absolutely wrong. And honestly, like I said, I mean, earlier, if you're a decent human being, you're probably not going to want to go to this stuff, other than to just film it and expose what's actually going on. I mean, I honestly, Kevin, I felt dirty at Albany Pride. I felt disgusted that I was even there. It made me
Trust me, I
feel
know.
I can
it
see
made
that.
me feel like a disgusting human being, and I was just like, I have to get out of this. I have to get out of it.
You want to rush that stage. That's the thing, folks. Like people even even the leftists, because they try to do that as I gotcha. Well, why didn't you rush the stage? It's because I know if I were to rush the stage, I would just be in the newspaper as someone arrested for a hate crime. I know
Yeah.
that it's more effective for me to bring true attention, the truth, to the public, right? As to what is happening at Pride. Elena, I'm going to throw this to you because I want you to cover this clip because then we're going to move on to the next Texas clip because we're almost to the Supreme Court ruling. And I do want us to get there. But Elena, what do you think of this clip?
My head is going on this suds party over here. The family, that what is it, the family area, whatever they call it. I think,
The family zone.
family zone. What I hear from all these trans books that are geared towards children is the word family has been wildly distorted. Anybody is your family. We will be your family. Your blood relatives, they don't know you, they don't understand you. So first of all, that makes this place dangerous. This is not a kid safe zone because anybody can be in here. And now you have suds that go 4 feet high. And to me, this is a place for a child to easily get felt up at a minimum,
Yeah.
without anybody being able to see a thing because we're all in suds up to our neck. It makes me sick that they call it the family zone when it's probably really just the feel up zone. And you can't convince me otherwise after what you showed me about the number of depraved lunatics walking around, grown men and women walking around mostly naked in front of children. Their moral compass is non-existent. So what I just accused the potential of happening, I stand by.
Yep. I mean, you're not wrong, Elena, because I can say this, and I'm sure Chris has heard this. Part of like Pride events for adults, by the way, I'm going to stress for adults, there are actually foam and suds parties, like soap suds parties, that were part of the after parties of Pride back in the day. But here we have, they've brought it to children.
Yeah.
So,
you are so right, because like that 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 is how it was. It was like, I guess you could say perversion was encouraged to be kept on the side and not brought out into public.
Nightclubs. Yeah.
Right. And that's where it was. And now it's a totally different thing. It's like, oh no, let's just bring the perversion right out in front of everybody. And but I do think that is the difference between the trans rights movement and the gay rights movement. The gay rights movement, really, when it gets down to it, we just kind of wanted to be left the hell alone. It's like, let us just have our rights, leave us the hell alone, and we'll go about our lives as we see fit. But these folks are different. They want, and the gays and straight people that buy into it want to push it on everyone,
Yep.
and it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening.
It's sickening, it's heartbreaking, and it's downright evil. Because, folks, here's the next video out of Texas. And this one was difficult for me because while I encourage the Texas Family Project, who creates this content, by the way, specifically, while I support them, I am for, folks, if there's children in your video clips, please blur their faces. Please.
Yes. Yes.
I'm asking you. I am asking you, as someone, if you truly believe in protecting children, blur their faces. You can still make a point. This next clip was a bit of a struggle because it took me a bit to appropriately obstruct the faces of these children from this clip. If Texas Family Project, if you were to ever see this, I sincerely support what you're doing, but please protect children thoroughly. Don't show their faces in these things, because it took me a bit to get the children's faces out of it. But this next clip, folks, pay attention to the whole thing. Pay attention to the background. Pay attention to the wording. Pay attention to everything in the corner, because this highlights the absolute depravity that was on display in Texas during Pride 2025. Trust me, folks, pay close attention to this, because honestly, watching this broke my heart. Here we go. I'm gonna pause it right there. Hold on. You see that sign? What's that sign say, everyone? This is at Pride. This is at a Pride in Texas.
F them
Yeah.
kids and F'eth away.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
continue.
You go again or something. Okay.
Equality hurts no one, but then you got plush. You got
Sex toys all over the place. Okay.
I can't. I genuinely. I mean, from the sexual perversion, I can't. Elena, what's your? I'm gonna throw it to you, Elena, then Chris. But Elena, what's your initial take on this?
That was like a house of horrors between the sexually explicit signs, the sex toys, the jars with dead animals in formaldehyde. It looked like, or were there? At first, I thought it was babies. I'm like, they can't possibly be human remains, but that weird dark witchcraft type of thing there. This is like such next level evil. I don't even really have the words to respond to what I just saw. I'm really in shock that people bring their children anywhere near that and don't run screaming. Like that there would be even one child there breaks my heart.
Absolutely.
I don't even know. Like I'm not speechless that often. I'm stammering on this.
Yeah, it's a tough one, Elena. I get it. You know, I mean, I'm concerned for the kids that are being exposed to this stuff and what it's doing to their minds that are completely unprepared to process this sort of stuff. You know, I mean, even my adult mind doesn't want to process this. You know, so I can't even imagine what this is doing to a child. Um, it's also embarrassing. You know, it's really embarrassing. I'm sure you feel this way too, Kevin. It's like, you know, this is being done in our name. You know, we're supposedly a part of the LGBTQ, and you know, how embarrassing is this for us? You know, I mean, I feel almost traumatized every June when this stuff comes out, you know, and I can only imagine what it's doing to the kids. But even I, as an adult, I'm just like, no, no, what the hell are you people doing? You know, and but according to that woman from the Girl Scouts, it's love and acceptance. So.
You know,
I see a future if we stay on this path of violence against this. Like you hear the trans community, oh, we're being genocided, blah blah blah. You know, like give me a break. But like there are going to be people like you guys who get hurt because of this, because at some point they're going to go so far. I like apparently this isn't far enough for people to freak out, you know, like what we just saw and what we've been talking about since I got here. But there is going to be a line where some people are going to snap and they're wanting to protect children, and innocent people are going to get hurt, and that is freaking me out. Having this conversation right now, when hearing you say like how it embarrasses you and it hurts you to see this, I don't want it to turn into something that goes even further, that somebody physically hurts you because of this, because there are people who are working to overturn, you know, gay marriage, and it is happening, you know, in small pockets. It's not, I don't believe it's going to actually happen, but because of this stuff, you know, they're saying that that's where the slippery slope started and they want to go back to square one and end it. I'm afraid it's going to turn to violence.
and I'm gonna be honest, it probably will. Elena, it probably will. I'm not gonna lie. We're probably gonna see it. Unfortunately, we as humans, and I feel like beyond this depravity, we tend to be a species that loves to learn the hard way. It just tends to be something that is innate to us for some reason, and it is especially a characteristic that is embodied by the most evil among us.
I really do hope, Kevin, that, you know, voices out there like mine can hopefully help quell the slippery slope argument, because I really don't believe that it is a slippery slope that caused this.
Oh, I'm not
Uh,
saying it is, just for the record. Like, I'm just saying that's what they're saying. Just
Oh no, no, no! I
yeah.
know that. I know that.
Okay.
But I'm just no. I know where you're coming from, Elena. You're one of my best buddies. I know. but but I'm just saying that I'm hoping that voices out there like mine, because I do really focus on this slippery slope argument, and I have been asked this question on national TV shows, radio shows, all that type of stuff. And, about the slippery slope. And so, I kind of run down. It's like, no, this is more of just a takeover, not so much a slippery slope thing. They took over the apparatus, and they did a really good job at it. And we as gay people just need to be vigilant. And so that's why I am constantly out there encouraging other gay people. It's like, no, stand up against this shit. You don't understand what this is doing to you, and this is what's happening to kids. And it's like, it is like an emergency freaking 911 situation that
Yes.
the gay community has going on here.
And it is an emergency for us outside of the gay community too, from a standpoint of protecting children. Like it really, this is a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And to be honest, I'm gonna go beyond the LGBTQ alphabet soup community, because I have listened to some people who use the slippery slope argument. They don't even trace this back to the gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and trans. They trace it back to feminism, and then they trace it back further with that. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the slippery slope argument, here's the thing. And this is the argument I make. Whenever you progress, right, in any fashion, even in a good way, there is a slippery slope option, right? So, for example, let me kind of put this in a different context. In certain countries in the world right now, where women are forced to cover up everything but their eyes, they can't drive, they can't speak, they can't be educated, right? They would look at us and say, well, you allowing women to own property, you allowing women to work at all, you allowing women to vote, that's what led you here. Now, does that mean that we should erase all that history and go to where they are because of a slippery slope argument? I don't think so. But so I just want to put this into a context, is that the slippery slope argument can be used in a lot of different ways, and it can be used in a way that is very much extreme and even disingenuous, and very much in and of itself evil at targeting a specific demographic.
Yes.
Well,
And
I mean, that's why I kind of that's why I do bring it up, because I know that that is something that is out there, among the populace. And
Yep.
and there's even gay people that give into it as well. And it's like, no, it's like, guys, this transgender stuff started, hardcore really back in the 1970s, well before, same-sex marriage was even considered a possibility in this country. And so I think that while we need to speak up to protect kids, we do need to also speak up to protect ourselves, because it's like that, this did not equal this,
I mean, I agree with you. It's just once people
I'm
have that
sorry,
in their
my
head.
sound went out again. Let me see if I can get it to work again.
Yeah. I don't know if you, I'll say this. I'll say the original slippery slope was when Eve ate from the tree, and she started all this shit.
I'm not gonna lie, Elena, I've had so much fun with that over the years. I had one friend who was very much a soapbox feminist, and my favorite thing to irritate her was I was like, "Bitch, give me back my rib." Anyway, so I've had some fun with it. I'm not gonna lie, but at the end of the day, that's the thing. And I ask this of people who argue slippery slopes: are you arguing it in a rational fashion, and are you genuinely saying this? And I ask this, especially sometimes of some men who argue slippery slopes with, for example, feminism. I believe feminism, especially as it exists today, is toxic and destructive and absolutely, to be honest, evil. But would you seriously take away the women you love in your life? Would you take away their right to vote, their right if they want to work? Would you take away those things from the women in your life that you love? I personally want it, but
Right,
No.
because it's not those things that are inherently evil. It's what we do with them.
exactly.
Well, I think that's what we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
guys. Honestly, when it gets down to it, it's we've seen a perversion of these good things, and I think that that's ultimately what it is. And humans are really good at making everything perverted.
Perverting
So,
good things. Yes.
yeah.
With that, folks, we're going to move along because we're almost at the Supreme Court segment. But first, we're going to play a quick, brief segment out of Oregon, of all places, of the Democratic House. And what was on display, thank you, libs of TikTok, for providing this. Well, I don't know if it's so much a thank you. I feel a little bit scarred. But we are going, this, folks, was at an actual House, Democrat-led House event. And, I mean, why is this happening? Why is something like this? Why is something like this happening and being promoted? I don't know. Maybe y'all can predict the
I'm sorry to laugh.
Well, if
it's ridiculous. That's why you've got to laugh at that. I mean, seriously, Elena. I mean, who couldn't possibly just laugh at how ridiculous that is?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine just you work so hard to get elected and you're supposed to be there representing your constituents, and this is what's brought in, this ridiculous soundtrack of what is a good song, and playing while two grown men are just dancing around like lunatics. I mean, and I know that given the context of everything we're talking about with the children, like none of it's funny, but I think I'm starting to snap, and
I'm so glad that we could do that for you, Elena.
I know we feel honored to be part of that snapping, by the way.
Yeah, like just maniacal laughing is taking over at this point.
Well,
really,
again, like I said earlier, welcome to our world. This is the way shit works for us.
and
I'm
a
sorry.
lot of things, Elena, I know you're a bit different because you are there, you are involved, but people, trust me, it takes okay. I want to touch on this before we move forward. I recently had someone remove me as a friend from Facebook. Not because they disagree with me, but because they could not handle my coverage of Pride events. They actually commented on one of my videos that they were disgusted by seeing all this and then removed me as a friend. They were disgusted. They disagree with it. They disagree with it.
But we're just covering it.
And that's the thing is they, and this is the thing is, folks, if you want to put an end to this, you need to have more fortitude. I'm going to be honest, because the people who push this stuff, they thrive by your discomfort of addressing it. I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
The fact they know that you're afraid to put a video of this stuff up and address it, that is what helps them push this on children, is because your sensibilities, which I understand, you're disgusted by it. Absolutely, as you should be, as I am. But you have to understand that if you want to protect the children that you say you want to protect, you have to make it clear that this is happening. Why? Because if you don't bring attention to these kind of clips, then guess what? Those people who are pushing this on kids, they're going to say it's not happening.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they do.
You think Chris, Elena, and I love posting this crap? Love that that there's this to bring attention to? No, we don't. We're disgusted by it. But unfortunately, it's the only way to address it. And I just was reminded of that friend in this discussion. Someone who, like me, is disgusted by all this, but their sensibilities, they'd rather ignore it and unfriend me than advocate for protecting children.
I'll say this in their defense. I get a lot of questions, like when I read from the books and the things I talk about the sexually explicit materials that are in the schools, and they're like, how do you read from these books? Like, I couldn't do it because I'm on camera and I'll say the most disgusting thing, but I do it to protect children the way we're doing here. But if you show me the video of dogs suffering, chained to a tree or locked in a cage somewhere, I gotta leave the room or turn off the channel. Like, I can't consume that. It hurts me. It hits me differently. And I think everybody has that thing that they just, I know the dogs are suffering, and I'll send a check. Just take the money, but don't show me, because it hurts me too much to look at it. Maybe that's what that person, I don't think they should have unfriended you over it. Just scroll on by. But I honestly,
I take it upon, and this isn't me trying to in any way be, and I know some people might be out that way. I just, there's a number of things where I have felt from internally, I have felt by God to push myself forward, to bring attention to things, or to, because I knew it was something that was a requirement in my, that was needed in my journey to push the values that I see, to push what I believe, honestly, for me, to be even God's message forward, is that I have, when, for example, that burlesque performance, you have no idea how much I wanted to rush that stage, grab that creature by its hair, and throw it off the stage. Everything in me. I left shortly after that performance, by the way. I had to.
Yeah.
Just as Chris, when we were at Albany Pride, we left shortly after that performance because we just had to. So there are the breaking points, folks. There are. But there's also the understanding that if you are going to fight evil, you need to address it fully. And I understand that it's not for everyone, but please don't, because you're actually hurting yourself. Don't come at those of us who take it on, and just because
yes.
It actually angers me because you screech, and I'm gonna take a moment here personally. You screech about this evil. You screech about this evil that you hate in our society. But what are you doing? And I'm gonna even go further to parents and what kids are being exposed to in school. And Chris, you've heard me rant about this before. I have had parents.
I know what you're gonna say.
I have had parents tell me how upset what their children being exposed to at school upsets them, right? But I have then tried to bring attention to what's going on in their own areas, encouraging them to show up at school board meetings. How many of those parents do you think showed up? These parents raging against this, right?
0%.
But then, exactly, none of them showing up at these school board meetings when I bring attention to what's happening in their schools. I can only do so much. Chris can only do so much. Elena can only do so much. If you want to protect your children, if you truly want to practice what you damn preach, then get out there and do it. Because, by the way, when I stand before my Savior, when I stand before God, when I stand before Christ, I can say that I did everything in my damn power. Can you? I don't know about that. Because some of y'all who speak this way, you sure as heck don't show up when it comes to it. Just saying. Anyways, with that,
no, it's so true, Kevin. It's so true. You know, and we can only do so much as individuals. You know, the three of us are out there busting our asses trying to protect children, and but we can only do so much. You know,
this isn't a woe is me. It isn't a woe is Chris. It isn't a woe is Elena. I'm gonna be honest. It's a woe is our children. It's a woe is your children. Sorry, I just had to say that because some people might be like, "Oh, well, you're playing the victimhood." No, the victim here is the children that you're refusing to step up for. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're all good, brother.
I thank you for that. I mean, I hope somebody hears you.
I'm just as frustrated.
And moves on and moves, you know, because people don't.
Well, speaking of children,
step. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Elena. Because speaking of children, because I know we've been going at almost 2 hours now, and this is a long episode. And God bless everyone if you've been watching. And Elena, thank you for being there with Chris and I. Thank you, Chris, because we're finally moving on to the Supreme Court ruling, which we are going to start focusing on that because, folks, we need to. Obviously, right here. Now, mind you, this is an AI summary of it. I get that. In a recent 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors in United States v. Skrmetti. I feel like I always butcher that. The court determined that the law did not violate the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause, which prohibits discrimination based on sex.
Sorry, I had another blip.
That's fine, Chris. This decision allows states to restrict access to gender-affirming care for transgender youth, impacting transgender youth and their families across the country, particularly in states with similar bans. And like I said, this is an AI summary, which of course is going to be left-leaning because it is Google AI, but I still feel to a degree it is accurate. With that, I do want to move us forward quickly into a response I found. Now, this is a bit of a longer response, but it is a freak out in response to this. Elena, Chris, those who are watching, listen to this individual, and then we'll respond to this, because when you talk about crazy, this is crazy.
Hey everyone. I'm just gonna make this short because I got to get going somewhere. I just heard that the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in denying trans kids health care, and I just don't understand this sick and disgusting obsession with dehumanizing us I mean, the right wing was able to successfully get even normies to believe that giving trans kids healthcare to help with, their dysphoria and their anxiety and is somehow immoral. And they just say they've been, for the past few years now, unhinged obsession in all of their right-wing platforms, calling it child mutilation and okay. I'm just so fucking just disgusted right now.
Unstable.
If you support taking away healthcare from trans kids, you support child abuse. Straight up.
Huh.
Fuck this fascist Supreme Court. I'm so fucking sick of us being seen as less than human, so freaks like them can take power and keep it. Okay? If you don't support trans kids getting healthcare, you don't support humanity. Okay? You support child abuse. Fuck this. I'm so fucking disgusted. The fight's not done, my friends. We need to fucking fight harder. We need to make sure that everybody, not just us in the trans community, can have our humanity be seen and recognized and be able to enjoy the freedom and equality that we all deserve. You cannot call yourself a human being. You cannot call yourself an American if you support this morally degenerate garbage. Stay strong, everybody. I love you.
All right. My brother, don't worry. Don't worry, my brother. I will be staying strong, but I'll be standing strong against the child abuse that you are promoting because, okay, I'm just curious because I'd love to ask this gentleman here, especially because I don't know, is that supposed to be cleavage or pecs? Is that bodybuilder? I don't know what that is. But anyways, I don't know if that's breast or pecs. Is it, I don't know, pexta? Or I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a foreign language. Anyway, so my child, how is mutilation, sterilization, healthcare? You determine that healthcare? All right, I'm gonna throw this. Elena, let's get your initial response. I mean, is this one of your sisters? Would you consider this one of your sisters?
Certainly not a sister in Christ. This one is really a professional gaslighter. If you think about it, calling us child abusers, saying that we are taking away their humanity, that the people who actually deny their own humanity and deny reality are saying that we are doing it. That, like you said, the people who are sterilizing and mutilating children and setting them up for a full lifetime of medicalization and medical problems that did not exist before they started receiving this treatment. Those, but we're that's good. That's good for children. That's loving for children, but preventing them from having that is child abuse. I mean, that was awesome. And I thank you for sharing that because whatever goes on in your feed, I mean, I get a lot of weird stuff, but this one did not come into any of my Instagram. I am rather impressed that I don't know what dark hole you got this one from, but.
Well, I needed to get
Kevin
tested after going down that alley.
Sound cut out. Give me just a second. I think I might be able to correct it. It's being weird.
Which, by the way, Elena, don't worry. I needed several shots after going down that dark alley of Instagram. It was.
Okay, there we go.
I can say that
now it came back. So yeah, we live. Kevin and I live in the edges of hell. Basically, is what it is, and it's So yeah, I had seen this one before Kevin actually posted it, and just for those of you who are watching who don't know, I actually went to the United States Supreme Court. I actually made a speech in favor of Tennessee and tried to, urge people to, just give some public support to the court to make the right decision. And I was glad to see that they did make the right decision so that these bans are seen as legal. Um, there is no such thing as a trans kid, plain and simple. No such thing as a trans kid. It's something that's foisted upon them by the medical industry or sick parents. And that's exactly what it is. So to hear this man say that denying kids this type of care is child abuse. It's like, no, that denying that is not child abuse. What you're wanting to do, that's the child abuse. Plain and simple. That's the
And
child abuse.
Elena, you asked earlier, you asked Chris and I about, those friends who turned on you. You want to see the face of who's influencing them? Right here, Elena.
Yeah.
Right here is one of the faces. I know this is a dark alley you fortunately did not go down, but right here, Elena, this is one of the faces of what's turning good, decent people into crazy.
Yeah, I think they think they have the
All right.
high road with empathy for this person, and I also have empathy for this man.
I do too.
I feel right. I know you do. Like, I feel so sorry for this poor lost soul who's mutilating his own body. I forgot in my response to this video to even mention the Supreme Court case. And if I may, Chris, we all followed it very closely. Chris was on the Supreme Court steps speaking. I listened to the hearings back in December and, really got into this. And one of the things, there was a lot of aspects of the case, but one of the things that really stands out for me is they tried to argue that trans people were being discriminated against based on an immutable characteristic, meaning like if you're a woman or you're Black or, you have green eyes, like things that cannot change no matter what you do, that's immutable. And I think it was Chief Justice Roberts was having this exchange with Chase Strangio, who was the lawyer, trying to push, who's a woman.
We're about to get to Strangio, trust me.
And said to him, saying that more for the audience, I know you guys know, and said, but some people detransition, don't they? And Strangio said, well, yes. And he said, well, then it's not immutable. And, and right there in that moment, when I heard that, I thought, okay, good. We just won this case. We're going to win this case. And we had to wait 6 months for the decision, but I believed right then and there that the state of Tennessee was going to win.
So I heard that same part. And
I was so happy for the state of Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee is one of my neighboring states. I absolutely love going to Tennessee. I have actually testified before their state legislature before. So I have close personal relationship with Tennessee. And I actually saw when I was at the U.S. Supreme Court, one of their legislators that I knew there. And Chris and I had really good conversation. And I invited him to speak at our event, and he did. And so I'm just so happy for the state of Tennessee. I mean, I want to see Missouri obviously take care of its problem, but I don't know. I mean, I just hope that I did something good there. You know, I guess that's what it is. I just hope that I did something good.
Yeah.
You know.
And Chris, I believe you most surely did. I mean, it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but and this is when I encourage people. Every little bit helps. Whatever you can contribute, if you're watching this,
Yeah.
it most
Freaking
assuredly
sound
helps
cut out again, guys. I'm
because
gonna have to hop off and come back on again.
yeah, it definitely helps. And you know, Elena, Chris, and I have talked about this. And I actually might wait for him to come in, but it's just absolute insanity. I mean, we have men like this, and like I said, God bless. I mean, I genuinely hope that God leads. I truly do hope that God leads this individual out of the path that he is on, because it is one that is heartbreaking. My heart truly does go out to him. Most assuredly, my heart does go out to this man. But immutable characteristics, right? So, and I was going to touch on this. So Barrett, right? Not the Barrett we have with us, folks. Justice Barrett. Is you know, she referenced, you know, she's talking about immutable characteristics. How is something immutable if it changes? Because mind you, part of the trans ideology is you can feel more like a man and identify as he today, and then tomorrow you can identify as she. You might be able to identify as, I don't know, a theory. There's all kinds of pronouns, right? And I always forget the specific terminology for the pronouns where you can identify as a thing.
It's just called gender fluid. Gender fluid, right?
Exactly. So how is that immutable? How? Even in reference to, I'm just, it's not. Let's be honest, it is not. And to go back to what I said that Chris and I have touched on, and I've entertained Chris with this, is I do appreciate how appropriately, it's kind of like it's Gotham, where the characters are appropriately named. Chase Strangio, chasing the strange, right?
Chase Strangio is one of my best buddies.
I know.
It really is awesome.
I had a personal conversation with her, and she doesn't like me at all.
No, you don't say.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's like,
no,
oh dear.
I'm just saying, it's seriously
know.
like they are appropriately
God,
named,
so
though,
stupid.
Chris, are they not appropriately named? They really are.
Okay, I'm gonna try it,
named.
guys. I'm gonna try another browser because this is acting up on me. So, bye.
Right. But so Elena, they are appropriately named, right? Like the penguin, right? Chase Strangio, right? And even for me,
you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make up a name that good if you were writing.
I know, right? No. Okay,
you're right.
All right, Elena, I'm going to take you back to elections past, right? For me, one of my favorites, and I will admit, and Chris and I have discussed this. This is elections past. One of my favorites, honestly, from the get-go, was Pete Buttigieg. Do you know why I appreciated Pete Buttigieg? Because, of course, the first openly homosexual candidate, serious candidate in a Democratic, in a race for president, right, in a primary, had to have his first name be Peter and butt in his last name. And I was just like, of course. And here we go with Chase Strangio, which with that, folks, I do want to, again, God bless you if you are with us right now, but I do want to move us along because we have some clips of Strangio, and they are most assuredly strange. So first,
here we go.
By the way, guys, this is someone that claims to be a man. So just listen to this voice.
This is a brother. This is one of our brothers for Chris and I here,
yes.
apparently.
Oh, yes.
We're joined now in studio by Chase Strangio, the ACLU attorney who argued the case known as United States versus Skrmetti before the Supreme Court in December. Chase made history by becoming the first openly trans attorney to argue at the High Court, a story captured in the new documentary Heightened Scrutiny. Chase, welcome back to Democracy Now!
All right, notice promotion of the documentary, right? Every interview Chase does is about promotion of Chase and her agenda.
Thanks so much for being with us. Explain what happened. Explain the decision of the Supreme Court this week.
Thanks, Amy. So in the decision, the Supreme Court, in essence, said that Tennessee's law, which bans puberty blockers and hormone therapy when they are prescribed in a way that is inconsistent with an adolescent's sex, that's what the statute says, is not discriminatory. It doesn't discriminate based on sex or transgender status, and therefore the government of Tennessee has wide latitude to regulate in this area. Now, I think Justice Sotomayor got it exactly right in her dissent that they had to contort logic and precedent in order to reach the conclusion that a law that says you can do something consistent with your sex, but you can't do something inconsistent with your sex is not a form of sex discrimination. But ultimately, the 6-3 conservative majority said that it was not discriminatory. As you noted, paving the way for the 24 laws that ban this care for adolescents in the United States to remain in effect.
Tell us.
All right, now, did you hear the testosterone in that voice? I mean, personally, I've known scream queens like that have a deeper bass in their voice than that. So, I mean, Chris, I'm gonna throw it to you because you and I have had this conversation many times. I mean, come on now. What? I was growing more facial hair than that when I was 12. But anyways.
Yeah, it's so funny listening to these so-called trans men because they sound like freaking crickets or something. I mean, I don't know how to even put it. You know, it's like it's almost hilarious. I mean, so when I spoke with Chase, whatever her real name is, I don't know. But anyway, it was the first time I had actually ever heard her voice. And I heard that come out. And I was just like almost ready to die in laughter when I'm talking to her. I'm like, I can't take you seriously. I'm sorry. You're not a man. I'm sorry. You're not a man. It's very clear. And you sound like a little girl, really, is what you sound like. And
Absolutely.
anyway, she could tell that I was about ready to die of laughter while I was speaking with her. And anyway, so she got really pissed at me. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever, you know. But
So,
yeah.
Chris, did she go to the default settings that I always talk about? Elena, I'm pretty sure you remember me talking about the default settings because I'm just saying it's consistent. I have yet to be proven wrong with the majority of trans individuals. When they're pissed or upset, the default settings kick in.
Oh,
You
yeah,
will have
no, she acted like a total woman who was pissed off, not like a guy. She didn't want to like beat my ass or anything like that. You know, that's what a guy would have done if I'm sitting there laughing in their face because I think they sound so freaking ridiculous. You know, but no, she got all woman pissy with me.
But she's a woman. I mean, how are you not supposed to laugh when she's wearing a Halloween
And it was
costume?
just so funny because it's like you guys can't hide it. Not at all. You guys cannot hide it.
No,
Like,
no, not at all. But I'm saying, like, she's wearing a Halloween costume to a business meeting, and you're supposed to not laugh. Oh.
And it's not even a well-fitted one. I'm sorry. If I was Ray Charles, I could tell that this is a woman. I'm just going to be honest. And Elena, I don't know if you've seen this clip, but Chris and I have watched it together. But here's our final clip of our dear Strangio. And Strangio talks about being a father.
Oh, I love this one. I've seen it. Let's go. Oh.
I know, isn't it great? This is our last clip, folks. So, again, God bless you if you've stuck in there with us.
It's a pretty intense day.
It is an intense day, and it's intense to watch my clients talk about their experience as parents. And you and I are both fathers, and I think we, as many other parents, have had the experience of sitting in our doctor's office with our child and our doctor and making decisions together about what our children need. And what this case is about at its core is that Tennessee lawmakers came into that doctor's office and decided they know best and displaced that careful, reasoned judgment of those parents in Tennessee. And that is unimaginable and should be unimaginable.
Oh,
All right.
poor little thing. Poor little thing.
I hate that this woman has
Bless her
children.
heart. And you
But
know
I
what
hate
that
that-
means, right? Because I am from
yeah,
the South.
yeah. I hate that she has children.
Oh, me too. Oh my God. I thought about that. I was just like, oh my God, what an inappropriate parent, you know, for sure.
I'm actually terrified about what's going on in that doctor's office, by the way. I really am, because that doctor, in order to, so let's say that doctor is somewhat sane. That doctor has to deny reality to be able to treat those children because the parent is so mentally ill.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be blunt. I have no problem being called a bigot for identifying this individual as mentally ill, right? Because I couldn't imagine if I'm sure the doctor is probably in line with this insanity, probably in line with it. Because I'm guessing Strangio would only go to a doctor that supports the mutilation, drugging, and all that crap of children.
Yes.
But
yeah, for sure.
I honestly, so I'm sorry. I really want to have a conversation. I would love to bring a doctor on, Chris, by the way, who I would, even if I just had a conversation, I would love to know how a doctor who is woke, a doctor who plays into this insanity, treats such a patient. Because how do you encourage them to get a prostate exam? Oh, what am I talking about? They believe that there's female prostates. Anyway, so...
Well, I mean, the thing is, Kevin, is like, ultimately we do, it would be kind of interesting to have an actual physician come on. I mean, this is clearly not a man. And she's never going to need a prostate exam, of course, and it's all ridiculous. It's like smoke and mirrors is what it is. And it's hard to even take it seriously. I mean, listen to her. I mean, she sounds like a schoolgirl talking. I mean, is she not even taking her testosterone like she's supposed to? Because, I mean, I would think it would lower her voice a little bit more.
Actually, Chris, not to cut you off, but there is actually...
Evidently she's not, because she sounds like a little schoolgirl talking.
So Chris,
it's like, don't expect me to think of you as a man when you sound like that.
Yeah, so Chris, I know I was interrupting you a little bit there, but there is actually a high percentage, by the way, I was reading up on this, there is a high percentage of quote-unquote trans men who, once they have the facial hair or they get the deepened voice, they stop taking the hormones and just coast on that. It actually is something that they do. Mind you, quote-unquote trans women, they're not as fortunate. They really can't do that as easily because that 5 o'clock shadow comes in.
Right.
But trans men, right? They're a little bit more fortunate in that way. Once the facial hair is there, once the voice is deepened, it tends to be there. So they're stuck with it, right? So they can step away from the hormones a bit more. And I'm curious if Strangio here has done just that.
Well, yeah, it is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know. I just know that when I spoke with her, I just almost laughed in her face. I was just like, I can't take you seriously because it was literally my first time hearing her voice, and I
Yeah.
was just
Oh,
like, I was
yeah.
like, oh my god, I can't take you seriously.
And
So,
it's just
folks, I
hard
do.
to take mentally ill people seriously in those situations. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, because I do want to move us to our last point because we touched on Justice Barrett and immutable characteristics and how can something be immutable if it changes by the day based on your feelings when you wake up in the morning. But then we have Justice Jackson. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to say Ketanji Brown, whatever the heck. No, I'm sorry. I don't like hyphenation. All right. If you're going to commit to starting a family, have the same freaking name. Anyway, so I don't. Why do you complicate that hyphenated crap? All right. When me and my husband got married, I wanted unity. I wanted, yeah, it's family. All right. Anyway, so, Justice Jackson, she compared what happened here to a threat to interracial marriage. Yeah, I mean, how she didn't pull something with that stretch is quite impressive. Elena, I mean, can you fathom how these two things would be comparable?
No. No. Again, because of immutability. You cannot change the color of your skin, but gender is fluid, as they like to tell us 2,700 times a day. So there is no comparing the two. And I think it was Sotomayor who also compared transgender treatments when they were saying that they were dangerous to aspirin. Aspirin has risk
Yep.
also. Like, the logic that the three dissenting justices used was so illogical and weak, that I'm rather embarrassed for them, and it also makes me feel smarter than I actually am in reality. Because if I hear something coming out of a Supreme Court justice's mouth, usually I'm like the village idiot by comparison. But these three, comparing this to to interracial marriage or comparing transgender hormones for children to aspirin, it bugs me out that there are people that I don't think are that smart sitting on that bench, people who I could outsmart. I should not be able to outsmart a Supreme Court justice, and it
I
frightens
know.
me.
No, oh my God, Elena, like I get you. Yeah, the dissenting opinions were completely absurd, and the thing is we need to remember that this is interesting in the fact that one, you'll notice that they use a lot of the terminology from the gay rights movement, which I find very interesting. You'll see Chase doing that quite a bit on all the interviews that she goes on to.
Yep.
Chances are because she is a lesbian, so I mean, I guess she knows the terminology. But the other thing is, this is an attempt at a cultural shift. It's not like the gay rights movement where it was like, just let us do our thing and leave us the hell alone. This is an attempt at changing the culture, and that's what Chase is all about.
Mhm.
And if you follow her on social media, that's what you'll see, and so that's what these folks are really trying to pull on us here. And I think that ultimately that's why they're trying to come after kids, because it guarantees them an ability to perpetrate their cultural change into the future, and so I think that's why we see such a huge push on the kids with the drag shows for kids, the inappropriate books for kids, all the trans crap for kids, all that type of stuff. I think that that's why we're seeing what we're seeing, and society needs to push back. You know, we need to do it through legislation. We need to do it through, you know, things like this podcast, make people aware of what's actually going on. This is not some sweet little innocent movement for people's rights or anything like that. That's not what this is about. It has nothing to do with that.
Absolutely. And on that note, folks, we are almost at 2.5 hours. I know we had a lot to cover. I know we could have broken this into 2 different episodes, but I mean, I think we did a pretty good job. Elena, thank you for joining us. With that, Elena, I know it's not a final thought because there's thoughts upon thoughts upon thoughts, but what's your wrap up of this episode for you personally?
Personally, I'm glad we can have a few laughs while we're talking about this heinous topic. But every time we talk about it, it really refuels me again, and it takes my anger from the steady 8 that it's normally at and brings it right back up to 10 and fires me up again and again to get out here and spread the word and hit people over the head with the frying pan of truth about what's happening to our kids. So thank you for having me here, and yeah, it was a good time too.
Absolutely. And everyone, I'm going to include in the description once I get a chance. It might be a day or two for me. But I am going to include all of Elena's, the Base Mother's, social media. So please be sure to check her out. You probably know her better than you know us. But if you don't, check her out. She's amazing. Chris, what's your wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, this is an attack ultimately on our children. And it goes back to what I was saying beforehand. It's an attempt at a cultural change, and we need people out there speaking out about this. We need people being elected who are going to actually do something about this. I was talking about it with a friend of mine that if I'm not elected, I think what I might do is actually try to start an organization to get people elected who do think like I do, and like Elena thinks, and like you think, Kevin, because we do need those people in office, definitely vote for the right people, who are going to actually protect children from this type of stuff. That's kind of where I'm going with it.
Mm-hmm. And I guess for my wrap up, I'm about to be a little bit, I guess, non-PC, perhaps. I might offend on a little bit of both sides here, but I see where we are as 2 of nature's most dangerous animals face to face. The 2 most dangerous animals in nature. The first one is a mother protecting its young. And we need more of those in society. We need not just mothers, but fathers protecting their young when it comes to this ideology being pushed, being used to target children. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's the first one. And I want to see more of those animals, quote unquote, speaking up, speaking out, and making themselves known. Even if you're a godparent, right? You're a parent protecting your young. Get out there and speak up. You're a grandparent, parent protecting your young. Get out there and speak up. Be that animal. All right? Now, the other animal that's the most dangerous in nature is a wounded animal. And that's what we see when it comes to this movement. We saw that Pride has been defunded. We see a cultural shift taking place. So when it comes to trans ideology, when it comes to the drag queens, when it comes to the maps, when it comes to all these creatures, right, they are wounded animals. And that is when they are the most dangerous. And that is when they will come at you more than they ever have before. So I go back to that. We are now a culture of two animals, the two most dangerous animals against each other. Those protecting their young and the wounded animals that see their ideology about to be defeated. We need to make sure that the wounded animals are fully defeated. And that is where I guess that's where I'm going to leave it personally. People, speak up, speak out. I don't care. Share this stream, create your own. Share, I don't know, Blair White, share whoever. Get out there and share, get the news out there, get the message out there. Because think of the children, think of the women you love. It's their lives that are on the line. All right?
It absolutely is.
Amen. Yeah.
All right. So with that, God bless everyone. Thank you for joining us. And please like, comment, share. Again, God bless you if you stayed with us through the whole thing. If you watched the whole thing after, check that description for updates regarding where you can find everyone. And we will catch you next time here on KC Reacts Live. Peace out.